Damascus, like many other cities and capitals in the world, witnessed an act of solidarity with the Palestinian people. Thousands of Syrians and Palestinians living in Syria condemned the Israeli aggressions against Palestine and denounced the attacks as a war of extermination against the defenseless civilian inhabitants of the besieged Gaza Strip. Isham Wanous with more.
Armed resistance is the only option for the recovery of usurped rights and the liberation of all occupied territories. This was expressed by the Syrian and Palestinians living in Syria, who gathered in Arnos Square in downtown Damascus to express their support for the Al-Aqsa flood operation and their strong condemnation of the criminal and genocidal attacks of the Israeli occupying forces against the Gaza Strip.
We want to send a message to our brothers besieged in the Gaza Strip and to the heroic fighters of the resistance that we support you, and although we are not fighting with you on the battlefield, we tell you that from here we support you with everything in our power, and by all possible means we hope to be with you soon in our beloved homeland. Resistance and armed struggle is the only option for the return of the Palestinian people and for the liberation of the entire territory of the historic Palestine, because the enemy understands only the language of force, and we support all forms of resistance of our brave people, both political and military, but now is the time for resistance and armed struggle.
Like Syria, numerous Arab and foreign countries witnessed massive popular rallies condemning the inhuman siege and the indiscriminate Israeli bombardments carried out against the inhabitants of the Gaza Strip. These actions they denounced benefit from the unconditional support of Washington, the inability of the United Nations to stop them, and the complicit silence of the so-called international community to exterminate a people fighting in defense of their legitimate usurped rights.
We appreciate the expressions of support offered by the free peoples of the world to our brothers under siege in Gaza, and insist that it is time for these peoples to put pressure on their respective governments, both Arab and foreign, to suspend their relations with the Zionist occupying entity and support the ongoing Al-Aqsa flood operation launched in defense of the rights of the Palestinian people. What unites us with the Palestinian people is the unity of life, destiny and interests against an enemy that commits crimes and massacres and launches war to end our existence. Therefore, we confirm from Damascus, the voice of the will of the Arab nation, that we support the battle waged by our Palestinian brothers to put an end to this criminal entity that murders children, women and the elderly since it was nailed in our region in 1948 until today.
Meanwhile, on the ground, the Israeli occupation troops destroy with their missiles, shells and phosphorus bombs homes, hospitals, schools, places of worship and the infrastructure of Gaza and cause the death and injury of thousands of defenseless civilians, mostly women, children and the elderly. An attack that is part of the ongoing Israeli hostilities that led, according to the Palestinian resistance, to the launching of the current operational Al-Aqsa flood, which they vowed not to stop until the Zionist aggressions against the Palestinian people are brought to an end.
Isham Wanous, teleSUR, Oriente Medio.